Good evening, everybody. Session Chairman Admiral J. Kolambage, sir. It's a pleasure to welcome you all, ladies and gentlemen. Before moving into our presentation directly, I would like to give you a brief video clip about the information breaches, security breaches that have been happening in the last couple of years. So I hope it will give you a brief idea or the background to our presentation. So let's move on it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on with the presentation. So we are going to talk about an assessment on integration of single sign-on technologies for the military environment, a fit viability model by Lieutenant Colonel SPP Pakshaweera, Mr. Nandana Pathirage, Mr. WMIL Wasalage, and myself, Alahendra. So the outline of our presentation is the introduction. So the outline of our presentation is the introduction, aim of the research question, methodology, data analysis, and finally the conclusion. So first of all, I would like to give you a brief introduction about what is this SSO concept. The SSO concept, that means the single sign-on, is historically SSO is quite an old concept which was developed and design the multiple logins a user needs to perform, and it will be turned to a single operation under secure condition. So let me move on to a simple graphical representation where the differences between single sign-on and the normal sign-on systems that I've been using in the day-to-day life. So as an example, the user have to enter the username and password in the normal process of logging several times to log into the systems that he or she need to perform. So if you want to enter to another system, he or she will enter the username and the password again and again. The difference between the SSO concept is the user will be able to enter the username and password once, and the SSO process will be processed. And after that, he or she will be able to enter to the systems under secure condition. So narrowing down the SSO concept to the military environment, as we can see today, the security breaches are becoming increasingly more frequent, and also the arrival of networking and the internet has necessitated the data to be more secured. So I hope let me remind you some of the incidents that have been happened in the couple of last years. I hope you all know the name Bradley Manning and the other ones, Edward Snowden, who has been leaking the documents for the WikiLeaks media to the public. So those are some of the major situations that have been done by the persons who have working in the military environment for a while and giving their documents with the username and the password. They are having the username and password for the accounts, and they get the data from the classified databases of the military, and they will give outside for some kind of. So these situations make a high burden for the United States of America in a cost in a high level. So it may be it is stated that in a magazine the cost was billions and trillions. So these kind of situations made us to find what are the loopholes in these systems. So it is our research was conducted under the aim of mitigating these security issues. That means to determine a model for the integration of SSO technologies for the military environment with the appropriate security measures using a mix of available SSO technologies which would be productive and successful in the military environment. So this research was conducted under the research question of how can the SSO technologies integrate with the military environment with concentrating on high security procedures and increase the productivity. So one thing about the methodology that we have conducted, it was a mix of qualitative and quantitative methodologies. And under the inductive research paradigm, we collected data from several military establishments under non-probability sampling technique. These military organizations were SLMA Diyatalava, SLE Panagoda. Likewise, we conducted several military organizations. And then we have the gathered data that we have are analyzed by the quantitative data by deductive reasoning technique, while the qualitative data by the inductive reasoning technique. And finally, we made to conclusion that we can have a proposed model on the proposed model of single sign-on for the military environment. Then I will give my presentation to continue by Shankar.
Thank you, Lashni. I hope now you have a basic understanding about the SSO concept. So now I will move forward with the data analysis and the conclusion part of our research. So first, the data analysis. You can see in the graph that about 53% of the users had an average knowledge about this SSO concept. They had a basic idea how the SSO works and some benefits they can gain from integrating it with their own working environment. So it led to a conclusion for us that the users will be comfortable with using this technology in their own working environment. Then the number of user accounts they access per day was also evaluated to get an idea how the users tend to manage those account details. That means, as you can see in the graph, it was average of 6 to 10 accounts that majority of the users are accessing. So then we questions about the methods of how do they keep track of these details. So it was discovered that the majority of them use a text file, save these usernames and passwords in their personal computers. So it can be a security risk because those text files can be accessed by anybody, and even someone has accessed the text file, that you can't know whether someone has accessed it or not. So there's no way to trace it. So it was a security risk. And then as you all know, the web browsers, there are several web browsers. They also provide functions such as save password and remember me password. So we questions that also, and it was discovered that although the users use about 6 to 10 user accounts, very few users use these options in the office environment because it's also security risk. So that means if a user wants to access several accounts multiple times a day, then the user have to log in and log out each time. So it means that if there are more number of accounts, then it becomes more difficult. So it will affect the productivity of those users, employees. And it was also discussed about the problems faced by users in this traditional way of managing those account details. So the most common problem was the forgotten passwords and the forgotten account. Then you can see in the pie chart, we have it demonstrates some combination that users use in their user accounts. That means the same username, different password, same username, same password, different username, different password, and different username, same password. So you can see that majority of the users have used this option, same username, but the different password.